Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying the text Isavasyopaniṣad. Traditionally, the Upanishads are thousands, because the Vedas are supposed to be 1,100 shakas. Each and every shaka will have Upanishad. It means the recorded histories we should be having more than 1,100 Upanishads. And we are not having that many Upanishads, we have only 100 and odd. Of the 100 and odd Upanishads, 10 has been selected as the best. Of that 10, Isavasya is the first. At least the shloka says that. When we read, we won't read Isavasya first. Other Upanishads we will read and we will come to Isavasya. The shloka starts with Isha. Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Taitriya, Aitreya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka. These are the 10 Upanishads. And these 10 Upanishads, because all 10 are commented by the great masters. Since they are commented by these great masters, we take it as the 10 authoritative Upanishads. To understand the Upanishad, we need to go through the human history. We need to understand the development of human being. You can broadly say all human beings are seekers, always seeking something. So you can broadly say all human beings are seekers. Seekers means seeking something, wanting something. They always want something. So all beings we categorize as seekers, wanting something. Amongst those who want, we divide them into two. All human beings are seekers, and the seekers we divide them into two. That two we call it for literary purposes, we call them as seeker and non-seeker. So we say seeker type 1, non-seeker type 1, type 2, and seeker type 1 and type 2. These are the 4 categories. Again I repeat, non-seeker, seeker. In them 2 types. Non-seeker type 1 are those who constantly seek material comforts. Material, they are seeking that. They feel they don't have it, and if they have it, they will be happy. So they seek that, they find a method to get it, and they get it. After getting, they realize that this is not what I asked for, because they thought it will come with something else, and actually they ended up somewhere else. They thought they are going to be happy, peaceful, secure, everything, because without that there is insecurity, without that there is lack of peace, and the assumption is if I get it, I will be peaceful, I will be happy, I will be secure. They get it. After getting, they realize they didn't get the peace, security and happiness. Instead they got insecurity, worry, anxiety. Then they started, where did things go wrong? Then they said, okay, let us try to make it more good now. Let us try to make it more good. So what they did, they started following some good values here and there a little bit. And practicing those good values gave them the peace and happiness and security. But they stopped at that. Are you able to follow till now? The biggest mistake is the non-seeker type 2 misunderstood themselves as spiritual people. They are not spiritual people. They are still seeking material comforts from the world only, but because of the values they were practicing here and there, they misunderstood themselves to be spiritual. And then they also went through the process of all that. Again, they came back to the same point. What is the same point? If the insecurity was in the type 1, if they were insecure every moment, the type 2 were insecure, at least they feel secure for half a day, that's all. But insecurity from the root didn't go. From the root it didn't go. Then they thought, what do we do now? From that came the turning point. That is the turning point, the U-turn. From the non-seeker, they turn into the seeker. Then there is a thirst. Then they wanted to learn this. Now, where to learn this? They went in search of somebody who will teach. They started searching, is there anybody who can teach? Is there anybody who knows anything beyond this? If they know something beyond this, will they be able to teach us? This is the starting point of the spiritual pursuit. To that person, the teacher says, since you belong to this category, you do the karma marga. If you are advanced, you take up a different path. What we call as the pravritti marga and nivritti marga technically. Layperson's terms, grahastha ashrama, sannyasa ashrama. Layperson's term is grahastha ashrama, sannyasa ashrama. The technical term is pravritti marga or nivritti marga. And then the guidance happened. Again a problem happened. What is the problem? When they were living the Grihastha Ashrama lifestyle in the way the Vedas have prescribed, they got so carried away by that and they got lost in that. That is where Isavasya is going to scold them a lot. Scolding is a very defined word we are using. When we go there, it abuses them left, right and center. He says, if non-seekers are in darkness, non-seekers are in deeper darkness. Seekers are in blinding darkness. Again. Master. Generally speaking, they are in ignorance, we are wise. He says, if you come for the retreat, you are in blinding darkness. Yeah. So what do we do now? Wind up. Blinding darkness it is. Why it is blinding darkness? That's the theme. Because it is so enjoyable, it is so ennobling, it is so elevating, a person tends to get, they will be lost in that. For those who have lost in this pursuit, the Upanishad says, this is the starting point of Isavasyopaniṣad. But then we don't start like that, we start from, that's why we started from non-seeker type 1. Isavasya comes to the seeker type 2. This is the sequence of human history. So from where they start seeking peace, security, happiness in material objects, and then in morals and values and ethics, and then into the self-development, self-purification, finally into Aikyam, oneness. Isavasyopaniṣad says, till you come to that point, the only difference is you will be agitated throughout or you will be agitated in pockets. That's the only difference. Now how you choose to be agitated, that's all. You want to be agitated right through, one method. If you want to be agitated in pockets, another method. If you want freedom from that, better listen to what I have to say. This is that's why it's called Vedanta. And Upanishads are called Vedanta. This is any Upanishad, this becomes a standard introduction. Any Upanishad you can give this. Now we are coming into Isavasyopaniṣad. Before we go into the Upanishad, we have to understand this. each and every word of the Upanishad will not carry the dictionary meaning. The meaning and what they try to say is exactly the opposite. If it is a direct meaning, straight away we understand it. But then the meaning, what the word and they want to convey is so vastly different. That's why when we go to each and every word, we have 5 days to read all that. Academically, Isavasyopaniṣad is in Shukla Yajurveda. It doesn't really matter which Veda because we don't know which Veda it is. It is in Shukla Yajur, it comes in Shukla Yajurveda. And it has the status of the Mantra Upanishad. Why it has the status of the Mantra Upanishad is because, see, generally speaking, you all, if you go to school, they will teach you Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad. That's how Vedas is divided into 4. Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad. So straight away you take the Veda book and go to the last portion, Upanishad must be there, isn't it? Because that's how they are saying it. So if you go there, you should find. If you go there, you will not find it. Why? Some Upanishad comes in Brahmana portions, some Upanishad comes in Aranyaka portions. Very few will come at the end. That's why Upanishads are most illogical textbooks on this planet. If you say that, then why call it as Anta? The thought flow, the Aikyam is the Anta, not the position. Veda Anta means not the last chapter, it is the last stage, the final culminators. So any mantras, any word that talks about the final Aikyam becomes an Upanishad. And it can come anywhere in the Veda. Understand it like that, then you will understand. Wherever Aikyam is spoken about, that is called Upanishad. Wherever Aikyam is spoken. And here he is talking about the Aikyam. That's why it is called, it comes in the beginning of the Veda itself. And to understand the glory of Isavasyopaniṣad, traditionally they say, Brihadaranyaka is a commentary on Isavasyopaniṣad. If your Brihadaranyaka itself is a very high, you have a very high regard for the Brihadaranyaka. That Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is seen as a commentary on Isavasyopaniṣad. Because the words are taken there and elaborated in detail. Mantra 1 says Sannyasa. I don't understand Sannyasa. Mantra 2 says Karma. I don't understand Karma. Okay, next person. It doesn't talk. After that it doesn't talk. Because what are you talking about? Next person. If the other person says, I also don't know, close the session. That's all. Because what can you talk? So Isa takes that height. Brihadaranyaka elaborates it. See that one word Sannyasa, Maitreyi and Yajnavalkya has a long conversation Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi will have on this one word. And then Karma Yoga, another long elaboration. And then you find that's why in the regular Bhagavad Gita classes, we used to quote, this word is from Isavasyopaniṣad. This word, you will see all those words coming here now. Just words. And these words are so meaningful, they take it and they elaborate it a lot. This is for academic interest. Now we are not so much interested in the academic interest. Just to academic interest, we should show off that I know so much about it. Beyond that, it doesn't serve any purpose. Of what use is academic interest? Then comes the real Upanishad. What is Upanishad? The very word Upanishad, Vivekananda said, if you literally translate it in English, he said, it will be called as near, sit, below literature. Upanishad, if you literally translate it in English, it will be near, sit, below. Near, sit, below literature. It is what meaning does it have? This near, sit, below literature. The word Upa has a meaning. The word Ni has a meaning. The word Shad has a meaning. That is why the Upanishad itself is 3 words. Upa, plus Ni plus Shat. Upa means near. Upa means near. Ni is you are not moving, sitting. Shat, below. What is this near, sit, below? There are two types of teaching. One type of teaching is information is transacted. Another kind of teaching where transformation is insisted. Okay, there are two kinds of information, two kinds of teaching. One kind of teaching is information. You go to a Benares in the university, they will teach you Isavasyopaniṣad. You go to the Sanskrit college here, they will teach you Isavasyopaniṣad there. There, the transformation is not the criteria. Sharing the information is the criteria. Upanishad takes a different tack. The Upanishad says, if you are interested in transformation, come. If you are interested in information, don't come. Because information is a different methodology, transformation is a different method. Here we are only doing information. Huh? Even here we are going to do only information, not the transformation. But somehow we'll brainwash you too. So 5 days, why? Come here 5 days, switch off your mobiles, no Wi-Fi, no this, no that. Food will be given, get brainwashed and go. Yeah. He's wise. He refused the garland, that's all. Yeah. Very wise. What is the transformation that we are seeking here? What is the transformation? This is the question. What is the relationship between you and God? The question. Again, the question is, what is the relationship between you and God? This is the question. If somebody asks you this question, what you will do? You will not know how to answer. Upanishad says, ask them a question in return to answer. What is the question that you have to ask them? Are you asking essentially or are you asking superficially? If you are asking at superficial level, there is an answer. At the essential level, there is an answer. At the superficial level, what is the answer? Creator, created. Cause, effect. And 99% will agree to this, they will be satisfied. God created us, we are all very happy, and we should pray to that God, thank that God, be obedient to that God, be respectful to that God, and please the God and finally please the God also. Because only if you please him or her, you will get. So that is a superficial difference. That is a superficial relationship between you and God. You ask another question. What is another question? What is the essential difference between you and God? Essentially, there is no difference. So the Upanishad is going to talk about the second stage. What is Upanishad? For that one who asked this question, what is the relationship between me and God? The Upanishad is saying there is no difference. Now you will be very disappointed. Because we know this already. How many lectures we have been hearing? 30 years, 40 years we are hearing. Where the oneness is the answer. What is the relationship between you and God? Relationship implies a duality. Relationship is possible only when there is two. And Brihadaranyaka says, Dvitiyaye bhayam bhavati. Where there is two, insecurity will be the result. Full stop. Dvitiyaye bhayam bhavati. Bharat, how to solve this? Straight away it says, if there is two, there will be insecurity. It means all dualistic things saying that there is a difference between you and God is essentially eliminated. Then what is the relationship between you and God? Don't even ask this question. What is the relationship between me and God? For I am God. That is the conclusion. That's how the Upanishad takes it to this height. Where there is two, there will be fear. Bernaksha said that no, where there are two, there will be politics. To do politics, you don't need hundreds and thousands. If there are two people, there will be politics. And automatically, what is politics here? Domination. What is politics? Domination. Who should dominate? The other. All relationship is revolving around politics only, isn't it? Or any relationship is revolving around this. Domination is the base upon which relationships are trying to be formed. The husband wants to dominate the wife will want to dominate the husband. The teacher will want to dominate the student will want to dominate. You go to an organization, the boss will want to dominate. The other also wants to dominate the boss. Wherever there is, and wherever you want to dominate, what comes along with it? What comes along with it? Fear, worry, anxiety. All that follows naturally. Opposite of that is, you do not want to dominate. You do not want to dominate. Why you do not want to dominate? Because there is no other. Because there is no other. Where there is two, superiority comes in. One should be higher and one should be lower, isn't it? Have you ever observed, if we say all are one, it doesn't make any sense. First rank will have sense only if there are 2, 3, 4, 5, no? First position will have meaning only when there are other positions. There has to be a second, there has to be a third, there has to be a fourth. Then only position number 1 has a meaning. Suppose if we say all are equal, what happens immediately? Looks like a punctured balloon, isn't it? Looks like a punctured balloon. Activities will have no meaning after that. Nothing will become interesting. So all interest comes only when the duality is maintained. Therefore, what do? Somehow we want to keep the duality alive in whatever form. The Upanishad says, get rid of that. You should know how to get rid of that duality. A student is longing for that. That is the Upanishad. What is Upanishad? A student has tried all this domination process. He tried everything. He or she, doesn't matter. You can say he or I can say she also. Yeah. They tried all these dominating procedures, nothing worked. More they tried, more it is becoming problematic. So what they did, they want to put an end to that. And they don't know how to put an end to that. And if you put an end, what is the road ahead? Whom to go and find this out? They went in search of the master. They go in search of the master. And when they go in search of the master, they find somebody sitting somewhere making statements. Older the scriptures, very difficult to read that. Because you will not find any logical development of thought in that. You will never find a sequential development of thought in just random statements being made. And if you read those books, they look so illogical. For the logical mind of today, the Upanishads look so illogical because it should be systematic. It should be logical. Upanishad says, If you see life as a linear, it is logical. If you see life as cyclical, where do you start? In a circle, which is a starting point. Are you able to follow? If life is seen as a linear line, definitely there is a starting point. If life is a cycle, which part becomes the starting one? Which is the starting and which is the end? That's why they ask, seed come first, tree come first. Will the egg come first or the chicken come first? Then you get into that infinite loop, not knowing where to end. So the Upanishad says, for the one who's exhausted with that method, they come here. Supposing if the person is not exhausted, what happens? The Upanishad says, take a long windy path and come. You have to take a long windy path. It's okay. Take that path. Because that's what you can do now. Why? Because you are not yet finished with the world. So the Upanishadic student is finished with the world. When we say finished with the world, you should understand, he is so contented with the world. Finishing with the world not out of misery. Finishing with the world not out of pain. Finished with the world because of contentment. What is the contentment? It has nothing in it. Having the monopoly money, will you say? Children play with the monopoly money, no? I still remember at that time when we used to play monopoly money, it used to be called Bombay trade, isn't it? Some of you would have played that game here, isn't it? How many has played that game? Whole of Malabar Hills you can buy, the whole of Chowpatty you can buy, whole of things. At that time I didn't even know what is Malabar Hills. You can buy that, you can build a house there, you can rent it, and bank will give loans also for that. Oh my God. They will give loans for that, and then you will be waiting for somebody to come and occupy, and because you have to pay that game itself taught you become bondy, but nobody learned it. That game itself taught you become that, but then nobody learned from that game. Bondy means bankrupt. The game ends only when you know that now the game ends. Bankruptcy is the end. Sometimes the game goes for 4-5 days and all. Because nobody will go. Somebody has to go bankrupt. And we are all waiting for that person to go. So the person has tried that game. Tried all that and found there is nothing in it. So a contented person with reference to the world comes to Upanishad. Not a person who is suffering because of the world. So first thing that the Upanishad says is, have you done with the world? And when it says have you done with the world, it doesn't talk about your pain and suffering. If you are in misery, pain and suffering, your priority will be freedom from the misery. You will not be seeking the reality. Again I repeat, when you are in pain, when you are in misery, when you are in suffering, what will be your priority? Freedom from that misery only you will want. You will not want Brahma Vidyana. If somebody comes and says you are Brahman, you are the self. Yesterday Jayanti was telling me, this knowledge doesn't really work. No, I said it will not work at all. She really said. Very disappointed because she is my VVIP guest. Everybody, I said, you all come. I went and picked her up. And she is telling me, this knowledge doesn't work, no? Why to even? When you are in misery, knowledge doesn't seem to help at all. Upanishad says, you have not yet done with it. Since you have not yet done with it, misery is there, and you are still seeking solutions for your miseries. And you come here thinking that this is going to say freedom from misery. Upanishad will turn back and say, if you say I am in misery, what are you talking? What are you talking misery? For misery is a myth. Misery is your imagination. In reality, there is no misery. In reality, there is no suffering. But I am suffering. No, sir. I am suffering now. No. What? How can you call that as? Imagination. Upanishad says, windy path is the method for you. Go back. You will go back and you will take the long winding path. For those who have travelled that winding path, understood there is nothing in the world, so thoroughly contented with the world, they start seeking a master. Are you able to understand now? So the Upanishad seekers are not seekers of, they are not miserable people. They are so contented in relation, so contented because at any point of time they know what they can get. They know what they can get. They have the capability and still they have understood it as futile. Still they have. So there is a thorough contentment. So with that contentment when they come, there is a childlike innocence in them. There is a childlike innocence. And to that person, statement is enough. To that person, you don't need to build a system of logical. A simple statement is enough. So they will say what? Simply repeat the word Rama. The Guru will say that. Simply say repeat Rama. We will ask, what happened to that person who had that name? Did anything happen to Rama first for me to repeat that name? Upanishad will say winding path for you. Any question you ask, answer is winding path for you. Any question you ask, take to the truth. Don't come here. Why? Because you will not be able to follow what is being transacted. Take to that winding path. Take to that winding path. Those who are tired of the winding path, they come. Those who are not yet tired of the winding path, when they read the Upanishad, they will be perturbed. They will be perplexed and they will think, why are we glorifying those textbooks as great? Where there is utter lack of logic, absence of clear arguments, simple statements where they don't even bother to define, and you ask them again, they don't bother about consistency. They say something so different, so inconsistent. Max Muller and others who translated Upanishads, they said, they call it as prattle. It's a childhood prattle. Childhood prattle, you understand, no? Child simply says something. It doesn't make any, there's no meaning in that. It's a childhood prattle because it simply doesn't make sense. And Upanishad is full of that. Isavasyopaniṣad is height of that prattle. When you go to that mantra 4, mantra 5, mantra 6, you feel like saying retreat is over, sir. Let us do Bhagavad Gita classes better. The Upanishad is very difficult. It moves not. It is closer, it is far away. It's stationary, it's running. You feel like saying? At least, do you realize what you are talking? At least, are you aware of what you are saying? Isn't it? You should not blabber so much. Blabbering is allowed. Little bit of blabbering. But how can you blabber from 11 o'clock till 12:30? That's what you are going to do for 5 days, huh? Now he is thinking, after the class he will tell his dad, let us go back now. All the way he came. His jet lag itself is not yet over. Listen to this prattle. What is this? A person seeking transformation has a different mindset vis-a-vis a person who is seeking information. A person seeking information wants to reinforce the ego of I know. Again I repeat, a person seeking transformation has the same problem. What is the problem? Through knowledge, that person wants to reinforce the ego. There are very many ways by which you can reinforce the ego. And here, by knowledge, the person wants to reinforce the ego. And the Upanishad says, You still believe ego is meaningful to you. So remember, winding path, correct. Remember this word winding path. 5 days I am going to repeat that only. If you don't understand this, go to the winding path. If you don't understand this, go to the ending path. So by the 5th day, if anybody asks what is Isavasyopaniṣad, don't take winding path. Don't take to that winding. Don't go round and round and round. Ultimately, for what? Not knowing where it is leading yourself. So to that person who has innocence, Upanishad is addressed. So there is the thirst for the aikyam. Carefully follow. There is a mutual thirst. The thirst to give and the thirst to receive. Again, there is the thirst to give and there is a thirst to receive. When they two meet, that meeting is Upanishad. Whatever conversation happens between them is Upanishad. And what conversation will happen between them? Simple question. What to do? Chant the name Rama. Finished. That fellow will go and say Ram, 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 Ram. Realization happens. Doesn't make any sense because millions have been chanting, nothing is happening. What is the Upanishadic student? This is the Upanishadic student. Isavasyopaniṣad doesn't bother about the student teacher also. This is a fun. Now I'm moving into the text now. First I thought 5 days is too much. Then I started reading the text. Because I have to read this to say something I wanted to read. And when I started reading, I thought, oh my God, so much, how can you cover it in 5 days now? So much is there. Because each and every word is so difficult. Purnam itself will take 2 days to cover. And then first mantra itself will take another 3 days to cover. By the time first mantra is over, retreat is over. Retreat is over. Now what do we do? All other Upanishads starts with the teacher-student prayer. Every Upanishad starts with the prayer. There is a teacher, there is a student, both pray. Sahanavavatu, Sahanav Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu Vavidvishavahai, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. There is a prayer. What is a prayer? The teacher and the student says, let us not fight with each other. No? Let us do this. So there is a prayer going on. Another Upanishad. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vapranas Chakshushrottramato Balamindriyani Sarvani. May my limbs be strong, may my body be fit, everything be fit. So there is a prayer going on. Isavasyopaniṣad, there is no prayer. There is no teacher, there is no student. It simply starts with the statement Purnamada, Purnamidam. Actually speaking, first mantra of the Upanishad is Purnamada. But because of the later tradition, what we did, they made an exception. And they said, because we need a prayer. Why do we need a prayer? We need a prayer to distract. Prayer is needed because the mind is preoccupied with the world all the time. So prayer is that which brings the mind back to the reality. Isavasyopaniṣad expects you what? You don't have those distractions, therefore no prayer. Purnamada, Purnamidam will start. But sir, we call it as invocation. No. Strictly it's not invocation. Strictly it is the Upanishad starts there. Why do we call it as no prayer? Because nobody is asking for anything here. Nobody is asking for, the teacher is not asking for anything, the student is not asking for anything. There is a statement of fact being made. The word Purnam, the student must be so grown, that person would have learned something. But then with that student, 2 more persons came. Unnecessarily he brought in 2 more people. And the Guru looked at the next person and said, Sannyasa, can you follow? Yes. Isavasyopaniṣad sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena gunjita makrida kasya svidana. First mantra. That person also says thank you and goes. And then 1 more person is left, staying behind. What? Urnamada also I didn't understand. Isavasyopaniṣad sarvam also I couldn't follow. What do I do now? Enjoy the world for 100 years. Go and enjoy the world. He doesn't say suffer for 100 years. He says go and enjoy the world for 100 years. Kurvanneveha karmani. By doing karmas, enjoy the world for 100 years. By doing karmas and enjoying the world for 100 years, you will come here. What to do about Brahman? You need to study about. So they talk about Brahman and all. Mantra 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 talks about Brahman. And when they talk about Brahman, that's where we will go for a full toss. Because all words go above the head. And then mantras 9 to 14 is the real Upanishad. Mantras 9 to 14. Where worldly ignorant people are praised and the spiritual seekers are condemned. Carefully follow. 9 to 14, the worldly people are praised and the spiritual people are condemned. All along we will do exactly the opposite. No? We will say people in the world are suffering, but here they are all doing some noble great thing. Upanishad says, you people are in greater darkness, blinding darkness. How to understand blinding darkness? Mundaka Upanishad and Kena Upanishad elaborates it later. Isavasya simply says you will be in blinding darkness. People in the world are in blinding darkness. Having come into Vedanta, you are in greater darkness, meaning greater than blinding darkness. Now, how to understand? Then why come here? Better to be. So how to what is that blinding darkness? Kena Upanishad gives an example. It's like lightning, it says. In part work, it's like lightning, it says. What is lightning? That's Tamil gum iruttu. Iruttu Tamil, and then there is something called gum iruttu. What is the difference between the two? What do you call that in Hindi? Is there a Hindi word for that? Huh? I don't know something. I don't know Hindi, so anything she says experience. Blind. It's what is the difference? When there is lightning, you see everything. You can see everything. Even before you can understand actually what you saw, where do you end up? In deeper darkness. Upanishad says, you come in here, knowledge gives a flash over everything. By the time you say, now I know Vedanta, the moment you say, now I know Vedanta, finished. You are in darkness. The person says, wow, too tough this is. Then the drama of realization. 15, 16, 17. The drama of realization. The drama of realization says, ignorance, the Upanishad calls as bright light. All along we have been, all the prayers that we have been so great prayers that we thought is what? Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, no? Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amritangamaya. Lead me from darkness to light, lead me from mortality to immortality, all that. Isavasya says, no. It's golden. It's brilliant. Only Upanishad where ignorance is defined as Golden. Only Upanishad. That mantra can be taken for 5 days. Don't worry, we will not do it like that. We'll try to finish it off in. I'll try to finish off in 19. By 19, I'll try to finish it off. Where the Upanishad defines ignorance as not darkness. It says it is gold. It says remove that golden disc. Remove that golden disc. And then the golden disc gets removed. Mahavakya comes. Soham asmi. Isavasyopaniṣad has a Mahavakya. Soham asmi. Saha aham asmi. There are so many Mahavakyas. Tattvamasi. Aham brahmasmi. Prajnanam brahma. I am Atma Brahma. Even though these 4 Mahavakyas we take as samples, they have lot of Mahavakyas. Mahavakya means great sayings. Saha, he. When the golden disc is removed, the person recognizes. I am that already. Soham asmi. I am that already. And then what? And then the final ritual. When all this has happened, the final ritual. What is the final ritual? Say thanks. Thank you. Say thank you. To what? Vayur anilam amritam adedam bhasmanta gum shariram. Let the elements go back to the elements. Let the elements go back to the elements. The body will be turned into ashes. The body turning into ashes doesn't mean anything to me because I have distanced myself from the elements. Let the elements go back to elements. And then same first mantra, Purnamada Purnamida. That's why we conclude the chanting every day by we chant with Purnamida and we'll end with Purnama. That mantra will go through the cycle completely. Information sharing will be very interesting. Transformation is a painful process. Again I repeat. If information is shared, there will be a very good relationship between the teacher and the student. Because in information sharing, relationship between the teacher and the student will be perfect. Sunil. Why? Because fundamentally both are in agreement in one thing. What? World is real. I want something, I am in need of something, you are in need of something. So we both are in need of something. Since we both are in need of something, let us share everything together. Let us not fight with each other. Let us be cooperative with each other. All that happens. Suddenly you find a person out of blue coming and saying, "What is it that I don't have that you can give?" Looks like blackberry. Because what he is saying and life doesn't, there is no correlation at all to life. The Upanishadic student is able to connect with that. The Upanishadic student connects with that. What is the connection? He says, here we are in agreement. What? Between the Guru and Shishya. Here we are using the word Guru and Shishya. For information purposes, I use the word student and teacher. Now, there are two kinds of transaction. Where there is student and teacher, there is a different agreement. Between Guru and Shishya also, there is a different agreement. What is the agreement here? The world doesn't have a problem. It is very essential for transactional purposes. Foolishly, I seek peace, security, happiness from that. Again I repeat. They don't say world is miserable. Carefully follow. This is Upanishad. Lower textbook only will say world is misery and suffering and all that. Upanishads doesn't say that. Upanishad says world has a World is useful for transactional purposes. But you thinking that world can give you peace, security, happiness, that connection is wrong. So what Upanishad says? Click that connection. But here people believe it can give peace, security, happiness. Very simple equation, mathematical equation. Insecurity plus insecurity equals insecurity square. Square. Insecurity plus insecurity plus insecurity cube, isn't it? One insecure person going and asking another insecure person, make me secure. One insecure person going and asking another insecure person, make me feel secure. And that person also will say, don't worry, I'll make you feel secure. Upanishad says, blind leading the blind. How can one insecure person give security to another? For both are in insecurity. Upanishad says, this clarity you should have, that's all. It doesn't say, leave the world. It doesn't say, world is suffering. It says, know what world can give and know what world cannot give. It can give you something and it cannot give you something else. Those who have this understanding, what the world cannot give, but they want that. Where to get that? They have understood world cannot give, but they still in need of that. Where to get that? Where to get that? Where to get that? Oh, you are asking where to get that? Go to the winding path. We are asking where to get that? Take the winding path. What do you mean where to get that? Where implies a distance. Where implies a process. Where implies you have to move from here to somewhere. Even here search for a while. Just as you searched in the world for a while, even here keep searching for a while. After searching for a while, here you will come to an understanding. What is understanding? Peace, security, happiness is not something that I have to seek. Peace, security, happiness is not that I am going to get. It is that I am already. I am that already. Here the Guru becomes a personification of that. The Guru becomes a personification of that. And here in Vedanta we have the very thing about the Guru Shishya Parampara. Iti Sushruma Purvesham. Even Isavasyopaniṣad says, this is what I have heard from my masters. When we go there, we will see what does this hearing means. What does this hearing means? Just a sample. This is what I also heard. Now, what he is talking is his experience. Understand that. What that person is talking is that person's experience. But he says, this is what I have heard from my master. Why can't he say? Why can't he simply say, I know it? Why does he have to say that? Only one person in the Western tradition followed that. Nobody else after that. Nobody before him, nobody after him. In the Western tradition, only one person followed that. That is Plato. Anything Plato writes, you will see, he will never say, I am saying. He will always say, Socrates says so. He is not saying that. Socrates never said so many things. That's why if the Isavasya original Rishi were to sit here, he will tell me, wait. Where did I say? All this. You want to say so many things and you are just using me as an excuse. I become, you will, whatever you want to say, and then you say this is said here, this is said here. Plato says that, Socrates says so. So why this Guru Parampara? Why they have this? Why can't they simply say, I know it? So these are the days of originality, no? Everybody wants to be original. These are the days of originality. Everybody has to be original. You should always say something new, isn't it? Here, what can you say something new? So they simply say, this is what I heard from. And when they say, this is what I heard, there is a beautiful, different angle to it. I'm just giving a sample of how we are going to continue for the next 4 days. So that Arvind will cancel another 2 days and stay here for the whole program. He cancelled 2 days, now I want to cancel another 2 days also. When you talk, you also hear. When you are talking, who is hearing? It's not the other. As you talk, you also hear. So, he's so objective to that, he said, wow, this is what I heard. Who is saying it? Who is saying it? He is saying it. And who is saying I am hearing? He himself. Iti sushruma purvesham. This is what why? Because first time I am hearing this. First time, it's not that first time I am hearing this. First time I am hearing this. It becomes so wonderful. நான் பேசுறது கேக்குதாப்பா? Okay. Prishika, you can hear, no? Okay. Suddenly I realized whether I don't know whether only I am hearing what I am talking. Iti sushruma purvesha. Not only the others hear, who's the listener? So that person becomes the guru and that person becomes the Shishya. Where do you get? Person who has not having this background, a person who doesn't relate with all this, if they come and hear all this, what will they think? It is utter waste of resources to sit and background. Simple statement. This is what I heard. This is what I heard. Because you are not the listener. I am also. How can they segregate like that? Is it practically possible for a person to segregate like that within oneself? Upanishad says, yes, it is possible. That's what in the beginning stage of the segregation is what we call as sannyasa. The beginning, the infancy of the segregation is called sannyasa. So according to Isavasyopaniṣad, sannyasa is very infant stage. Karma yoga don't even talk. Right and wrong, good and bad and all. Deep sleep it is. Yeah, in deep sleep. What to talk to the people in, what to talk to the person in deep sleep. It grows in stages. Final conclusion. What is the conclusion? It's no more a learning, it is one's own becoming. It is one's own becoming. And very difficult is to take Isavasyopaniṣad because in all of the Upanishad, you can talk about the student for 2 days. See, Kathopanishad, Nachiketas itself you can talk for 2 days. And by that time you come to Yama, another 2 days will be over. Actually, you don't have to study the Upanishad at all. Because so much of material they both provide you that it is very entertaining. Here there is no teacher, there is no student. What do you do here? How to keep the, how to introduce the Upanishad? Purnam. What introduction? Purnam. This is the background of Isavasyopaniṣad. So all that we said in this 1 hour is what we'll be discussing for the next 5 days. To start the study, we will read the first invocatory mantra and see into the meaning of it. Invocatory. 1 second. Bharat.
Sir, I want to ask you a small doubt.
Yes.
While we read the Bhagavad Gita,
Yes.
it is mentioned as a verse.
Yes.
On the
Yes.
In all Upanishads, it's
Yes.
mentioned as mantra. What is the difference between a mantra and a verse?
The question. What is the difference between mantra and a verse?
Yes.
Verse is more grammatical. Mantra doesn't worry about grammar. First difference. A verse has a fixed words. Then they will try to fit in. That is a verse. Gayatri meter. For example, most of the Bhagavad Gita verses follow the standard Gayatri meter. What is the standard Gayatri meter? All the Bhagavad Gita verses can be divided into 4 halves. First line, 1 half. Second line, another half. So you will have 4 parts. So right through you will follow that pattern. So even if sometimes what he will do to fill in, he will bring in a word to fill the meter. That is the verse. Mantras don't bother about that. Wherever he wants to catch a breath, there will be a stop there. So it is where the Rishi takes a breath. So the difference between mantra and the verse is, it's a song. Verse means song. Gita, Bhagavad Gita is a song. Mantra. Mananat trayate iti mantra. That which you have to mentally repeat again and again and again becomes a mantra. So, a mantra is that which is meant for contemplation, nididhyasana. The verses convey a logical sequence of thought and all that will be dealt with in the song. So that is a fundamental difference between Gita and mantra. Anything that comes from the Veda, it will be called as mantra. All non-Vedic texts will be called as verses. Mahabharata verses. The actual English translation is shloka. Shloka it is called. The actual Sanskrit word is shloka. Shloka means trying to glorify something. Trying to explain about something, trying to glorify something. So when you are trying to explain, glorify, how can you explain and glorify? If you have to glorify, adjectives has to be used a lot. If you have to glorify something, you have to use lot of adjectives. More adjectives, more poetic it is. Correct? More adjectives, more poetic it is. More adjectives, more of a lot of lies in it. Lie. Lie na Tamil na? Poi. Another kavidaiku poi edanu solradhu. Because it has to be lies only. So the beauty comes from adjectives. So it has to be like that. More and more and more adjectives you use, more and more you move away from. You move away. Mantra is not worried about glorifying anything. They don't glorify. They simply make a statement. They will never say Brahman is great. They will say Tad Dure Tat Antiki. They will never glorify God. They will say this is Brahman. Understand the difference? Shloka has to glorify. Mantra has to statement of fact. Second, they don't worry about your meter. That's why this chanting is very complicated. Bhagavad Gita chanting is anybody can say it in 2 minutes you can follow the chant. Upanishad chanting, practice panna it doesn't come. Yeah, even if they practice it won't come. Because the variations are so many. Yeah, see, just to show how poor we are chanting, 18th evening we are going to have the proper chanting. I invited a few people to come and show us how it is chanted properly. You listen to their chanting, we don't feel like even opening we don't even feel like opening the mouth after that. Actually, we get to see that chanting also. 1 hour they are going to show us how it should be done. That's the difference. Is it okay, Bharat? That's the difference between shloka and mantra. The definition of mantra again, mananat trayate iti mantra. Mantra means more you dig, more you get. That is a mantra. So it's potent. Shloka doesn't have that potency. Because more and more adjectives you give, less and less potent it becomes. It's less potency. It's good. You're not saying it's bad. It's good at one level, it is good. But at the Upanishadic level, we don't want that because we are done with all that. So here we call it as mantra. Why? Because we want to dig deep. We want to dig deep. Finally, the technical difference. To interpret a shloka, Gita, you have a different grammar. To interpret the Vedic mantra, you have a different grammar. Again, I repeat. To interpret the Vedic mantra, it's a different grammar. To interpret the shloka, there is a different grammar. Invariably, now what we are doing, that grammar that we use to interpret the shloka, predominantly we use it to interpret the mantras also. In the 5 days, we are trying the reverse method. I am going to try. We need 40 people to experiment. No. So all these people are experiments. They have done it. That's the Bhashya. Where they use a special grammar, they use a special technique to decode the words. Because in a shloka, you can have a dictionary and understand a shloka. You can't have a dictionary and understand a mantra. Then what to do? You need a certain mindset. You need somebody who has an experience. You need a certain mindset. Mantra is that communication. This is the actual difference between mantra and shloka. Technically, it is called Mimamsa. That is why in Sanskrit school they will teach you grammar, and then if you really say we want to study Vedanta, they will say, have you studied Mimamsa? They will ask. Mimamsa is a special, it's very unique to, the Vedic mantras. And when I say it is unique, it is hair splitting. When I say unique, it is hair, because the Tarka Shastra, the Tarka, Nyaya and all that, the logic and reason, that is incredible mathematics it is. In Upanishadic study, we want to study it at that level. We don't want to study it as the shloka level, we don't want to study. We want to study at the Upanishadic level. So what we are planning to do here, samples we will give of that also. Prabhu. Fulla gedum mudiyadhu. Why can't we do that fully? Now, personally speaking, honestly speaking, that is what I would love to do it in that way only. But why can't we do it? So we should divide retreat itself into two now. First level of retreat at one level and give Arvind a break. Yeah. And then do the same Isavasya again with that interpretation. And then you go back and read Gita and all that. Oh my God, the way you see all that is so completely different. That becomes an Upanishadic. Are you able to follow? Correct. That's the difference. So what we are going to do here is to keep a comfort level with what we already know, we'll take the shloka interpretation first. And then we want to go into the mantra interpretation also. That is called Vedic way of, that is the Vedic study. The Vedic way of doing things. Why I was, like Meera was saying, I said, see, I want to do this Vedic way of doing. You have to do this Vedic style of interpretation and all that. Some minimum exclusivity is needed. Minimum things, you can't have it in a Veda. What did you say? Spiritual tourism. No? That is his coin. Yeah, Veda coin. Spiritual. It looks like spiritual tourism it becomes. No, I want that exclusivity. Because mantra has to be studied that way. So what we are planning to do here, we are going to do that. Then we can go deeper. Why? See, all of us here, I know, at least we have been acquainted with decades. All of us here, I know each and every person here, all of us are acquainted with the subject for decades. Then let us try something at the deeper level. Not come and repeat the same thing. So if you observe, in 1 hour 15 minutes, I never used the word body, mind, intellect, never used the word Vedanta, never used any of that. And it will not be used also for the next 5 days. You know why? Because here the attempt is to go deeper. Okay, Bharat? What these Upanishads do is silence. When silence becomes uncomfortable, they say something. Why? Because supposing I come and simply sit looking at everybody's face, first 30 seconds you will think what? Maybe sir is thinking something very deep. So he is going to say something very, very profound. 1 minute passed, I am not saying anything. 2 minutes passed, I am not saying anything. Some person will start thinking maybe audio is not working. Yeah. Meera will think, oh my God, maybe sir is choking. Maybe we should go and ask, do you need hot water? Somebody will think something. 3rd minute, everybody is lost. Silence is so. Now what to do now? So in order to engage, some words will be told. Carefully follow. To engage, some words will be told. And when they say some words, that word should trigger something very profound. That's the Upanishad. So what they do, they deliberately use words that you have to say something. You have to ask something. More you ask, bigger, that's how we dig. More we ask, more we dig. Five days we are going to do that. People ask me, sir, 3 classes in a day will be too much, no? Only 3 sessions in a day, not 30 sessions. That took 1 hour, 1 hour 15 minutes, that's all. You start a session should go on at least for 2 hours, isn't it? Because by the time I am warming up, lecture is over now. Okay. By the time you go on, it is over already. You follow? Bharat. We'll chant the first mantra.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Om. We have means also. Om. That is whole. This is whole. From the whole emerges, not H-O-L-E, yeah? From the whole emerges. Having drawn out the whole from the whole alone remains peace, peace, peace. Upanishad is whole. No, what to do? Whole. Purnam, the Sanskrit word. One of the innocuous mantra, one of the simplest mantras. The highest is spoken in this mantra, and nobody can say anything different from this. We all have to keep repeating the same thing only. Nobody can say anything different. How? The only way to repeat the truth is by, the only way that you can talk about the truth is by repetition. Truth is always conveyed only by repetition. There are no various ways of saying the truth. There is only one way of saying the truth. What is the truth? What is the one way? Repeat. You can lie in a million ways. The untruth can be spoken about in a million ways. The truth can be spoken in one method. And what is that method? A method of repetition. So what is he saying? Purnam adaha purnam idam. That and this. Instead of saying that and this, they could have straight away said, what is that and what is this? That is mantra. It will only say that, this. Shloka will not accept that, and the shloka has to say what that is, what this is. Upanishad says it will be simply say that, this. Purnam adaha purnam idam. Purnat purnam udachyate emerges. One different word. What? Udachyate emerges. Having drawn out the whole from the whole, purnasya purnam adhaya. Another word. Purnam eva vasishyate. Another word. Avladha. Purnam, in between three different words he says. Shanti. What is this Upanishad? What is this Purnam? This is the greatest service done to humanity. Nobody can say anything better than this Purnamada. Or if anybody is saying anything, anywhere in the world, in the past, present and future, it will be a simple repetition of this mantra only, and we don't have a problem repeating it. We don't have to, we will not bother about having to say something new, original. Why? Because the truth is the same in the past, the truth is the same in the present, the truth is the same in the future. So it can only be repeated. So it says it's Purnam. That and this. So first study is what is that and what is this. Now we'll give one meaning to that and this. The next mantra, he reverses the meaning now. As you are settling into one mantra with the meaning, next mantra he will reverse it. Here, that means Brahman, this means world. The next mantra, exactly the opposite. What is the opposite? Bhaskar.
That means world. This means
Brahman. Now you are confused. Now you feel like asking, tell us clearly. one meaning for that and one meaning for this. Mimamsa, Vedic study will come and say, what are you talking? Because by the time I give one meaning, it has changed. No. Are you able to follow their way of thinking? Prabhu. By the time I give one meaning, it is already changed. So how can I give one meaning? Because it is so constantly changing. So by the time I give one meaning, it has changed into something. So the next meaning will be according to that change. Therefore, it keeps changing all the time. No, this is a very unscientific way of this is a very non-scientific, unscientific way of study. Let us stick to one word, one meaning. And then comes from the whole emerges. Having drawn out the whole, what remains there? The whole remains. Beautiful is this word. Whole is a beautiful word. Generally, people use the word infinity a lot. Changed. Whole. Beautiful is this word. Whole. Because all that you can conceive of is in this and much more. Whole means that doesn't lack in anything. That's the meaning. Purna means whole. Whole means it doesn't lack anything. Okay, invariably you always find lacking in something. Why not use the word infinity? Even when you come to mathematics at a very school level itself, 12th grade, last year in the school and all, we start doing this infinity. After a period of time, infinity looks like another number now. Infinity will start appearing like another number. The calculus plus infinity minus infinity, but infinity they go into. So that's not wrong. But Upanishad proposes a higher mathematics. We'll be taking a bit again in the evening. Upanishad proposes a higher mathematics. With this confusion, we will conclude for today. These 14 sessions. You have 10. Remove 5 from that. What remains? Sunil. 5. You have 10. Remove 8 from that. What remains? 2. You have 10. Take away 10. What remains? 0. Upanishad says, you have 10, you give away 5, what remains? 10. Wait. Looks like you have to go to kindergarten now. Your mathematics is also so completely wrong. You have 10, you give away 10, what you are left with is 10. How do you decode that? That is, you have 10, I have 10 rupees, I give away 5 rupees, I am left with 5 rupees. I have 10 rupees, I give away 10 rupees, I am left with nothing. So, I have 10 rupees, I give away 10 rupees, and I look at my pocket, the 10 rupees is still there. No, sir. This is not Isavasyopaniṣad mantra. We have it. It is very different. The word Purnam indicates it doesn't lack in anything. Why do we have to define it like this? It's because we can understand this interpretation first. We always feel we are lacking something. We always feel something is not there, and that fills me up. I don't feel full. Something is lacking. And when that which is lacking comes in, I will feel full. Therefore, a lacking something is seen and fullness is attempted. I lack something and I do something to fill it up. Purnamada Purnamidam says, what are you attempting? What are you doing? Because you are full already. You are full already. When you are full already, from full if you take full, what will remain? Because where will you take? Where will you take? To whom you are giving? To whom you are giving? That is why first mantra is going to say, if you say I have renounced something, you are a... Alright, I can't use the word slaves. Yeah. If you say I have given up something, if you say I have renounced something, you are a fool. Why? Because from whom to whom? To whom it is going? From the right pocket to the left pocket? One person came long back, here only one of the classes. Shankaraton may remember. He said, Sir, I think I have renounced everything and I am ready for Vedanta. I said, great. Because even I am trying to renounce, I am not able to renounce. You have renounced everything, so yes. I gave everything to my 2 children, sir. I said, say that again. I gave everything to my 2 children. What? From the right pocket to the left pocket. Mindness. From this pocket I take and I put it in this pocket. And this pocket is saying, I have renounced. From where to where? Isavasyopaniṣad sarvam. Explanation starts. Purnam, I am not able to understand. You don't understand the word Purnam? 4 words I will teach you what Purnam is. Isavasyopaniṣad sarvam. So Isavasyopaniṣad sarvam becomes an explanation for Purnam. And some other explanation has to be given for the word Isha now. Some other has to give. Where do we start and where do we end? But it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated at all. Because it's a simple understanding. What is a simple understanding? Life can be seen as 2 aspects, 2 phenomena. The phenomena of limited resources, the phenomena of abundance. That's all you see. Life can be seen as 2 views. One aspect is limited resources. Another aspect is abundance. If you see life as limited resources, you always have to run, worry, hurry, keep. If you see it as abundance, if you understand life as abundance, you will say, after you. You able to understand now? If you say, understand life as abundance, you will always say, after you. But if I keep saying after you, what will happen to? What will happen to me? Oh, you are asking this question? Go to winding path. Yeah. We'll continue the evening.